Misha Raftery an fila, lán dóchas is grá, le súla gan solas, le cúnas gan crá, ag dul siar ar meastir, le solas mo chrí, fan agus torse go dearm mo slí. Féach inis mé is mo cúil le balla, ag sinú cheol do fócaí folamh. Ye maids of Duhallow, who are anxious for courting, a word of advice I will give unto ye. Proceed to Bantir to the athletic sporting, and hand in your names to the club committee. But do not commence any sketch of your progress till a carriage you see coming over the hill, and down through the valleys and hills of Kilcorny, with that muskery sportsman the Baltady quill. For rambling, for roving, for football or courting, for emptying a bowl sure as fast as you'd fill. In all your days roving you'll find none so jovial as the muskery sportsman the Baltady quill. I remember the house where I was born, the little window where the sun came peeping in at morn. He never came a wink too soon, nor brought too long a day, but now I often wish the night had borne my breath away. I remember the roses red and white, the violets and the lily cups, those flowers made of light, the lilacs where the robin built, and where my brother set the laburnum on his birthday. The tree is living yet. I remember where I used to swing, and thought the air must rush as fresh to swallows on the wing. My spirit flew in feathers then, that is so heavy now, and summer pools could hardly cool the fever on my brow. I remember the fir trees dark and high. I used to think their slender tops were close against the sky. It was a childish ignorance, but now 'tis little joy to know I'm farther off from heaven than when I was a boy. A boy's song. Where the pools are bright and deep, where the grey trout lies asleep, up the river and over the lea, that's the way for Billy and me. Where the blackbird sings the latest, where the hawthorn blooms the sweetest, where the nestlings chirp and flee, that's the way for Billy and me. Where the mowers mow the cleanest, where the hay lies thick and greenest, there to trace the homeward bee, that's the way for Billy and me. Where the hazel bank is steepest, where the shadow lies the deepest, where the clustering nuts fall free, that's the way for Billy and me. The village blacksmith. Under the spreading chestnut tree the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long, his face is like the tan. His brow is wet with honest sweat, he earns whate'er he can, and looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any man. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow, you can hear him swing his heavy sledge with measured beat and slow, like a sexton ringing the village bell when the evening sun is low. And children coming home from school look in at the open door. They love to see the flaming forge and hear the bellows roar, and catch the burning sparks that fly like chaff from a threshing floor. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begun, each evening sees its close. Something attempted, something done, has earned a night's repose. Baena chamara higunde an clár, baena chamara higunde an clár, baena chamara higunde an clár, Cewatam me ni vai me an. Waharin ligget to an aini me, waharin ligget to an aini me, waharin ligget to an aini me, Muvurnino ni veli e. Baena chamara higunde an clár, baena chamara higunde an clár, baena chamara higunde an clár, Cewatam me ni vai me an. I am a little beggar man, and begging I have been for 60 years in this little Isle of Green. I'm known along the Liffey from the basin to the zoo, and everybody calls me by the name of Johnny Doo. Of all the trades a-going, sure begging is the best, for when a man is tired he can sit him down and rest. He can beg for his dinner, he has nothing else to do, but to slip around the corner with his owl rigadoo. I slept in a barn one night in Corabon, a shocking wet night it was, I slept until the dawn. There was holes in the roof and the raindrops coming through, and the rats and the cats were all playing peekaboo. Who did I waken but the woman of the house, with her white spotted apron and her fine gingham blouse? She began to get excited, and all I said was boo. Sir, don't be afraid at all, 'tis only Johnny Doo. Daisies. At evening, when I go to bed, I see the stars shine overhead. They are the little daisies white that dot the meadows of the night. And often while I'm dreaming so, across the sky the moon will go. It is a lady sweet and fair, who comes to gather daisies there. For when at morning I arise, there's not a star left in the skies. She's picked them all and dropped them down into the meadows of the town. From a railway carriage. Faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and ditches, and charging along like troops in a battle, all through the meadows, the horses and cattle. All of the sights of the hill and the plain fly as thick as driving rain, and ever again, in the wink of an eye, painted stations whistle by. Here is a child who clambers and scrambles, all by himself and gathering brambles. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes, and there is the green for stringing the daisies. Here is a cart run away on the road, lumping along with man and load. And here is a mill, and there is a river, each a glimpse and gone forever. My lost youth. Often I think of the beautiful town that is seated by the sea, often in thought go up and down the pleasant streets of that dear old town, and my youth comes back to me, and a verse of a Lapland song is haunting my memory still. A boy's will is the wind's will, and the thoughts of youth are long, long thoughts. I can see the shadowy lines of its trees, and catch in sudden gleams the sheen of the far surrounding seas and islands that were the Hesperides of all my boyish dreams. And the burden of that old song, it murmurs and whispers still, a boy's will is the wind's will, and the thoughts of youth are long, long thoughts. I remember the black wharves and the slips, and the sea tides tossing free, and Spanish sailors with bearded lips, and the beauty and mystery of the ships, and the magic of the sea, and the voice of that wayward song is singing and saying still, a boy's will is the wind's will, and the thoughts of youth are long, long thoughts. I remember the bulwarks by the shore and the fort upon the hill, the sunrise gun with its hollow roar, the drum beat repeated o'er and o'er, and the bugle wild and shrill. And the music of that old song throbs in my memory still, a boy's will is the wind's will, and the thoughts of youth are long, long thoughts. Huggamer féin an saoirú linn, huggamer féin an saoirú linn, huggamer linné cé ban fi dinné, huggamer féin an saoirú linn. Saoirú saoirú baine na gabhna, huggamer féin an saoirú linn, saoirú buí ó lí na gréine, huggamer féin an saoirú linn. Saoirú saoirú baine na gabhna, huggamer féin an saoirú linn, saoirú buí ó lí na gréine, huggamer féin an saoirú linn. At Boolavog, as the sun was setting o'er the bright May meadows of Shelmalier, a rebel hand set the heather blazing and brought the neighbours from far and near. Then Father Murphy from old Kilcormac stirred up the rocks with a warning cry. Arm, arm, he cried, for I've come to lead you, for Ireland's freedom we'll fight or die. He led us on 'gainst the coming soldiers, and the cowardly yeomen were put to flight. 'Twas at the Barrow the boys of Wexford showed Bucky's regiment how men could fight. Look out for hirelings, King George of England, search every kingdom where breeds a slave. For Father Murphy from the county Wexford sweeps o'er the land like a mighty wave. The Watchmaker's Shop. A street in our town has a queer little shop with tumble-down walls and a thatch on the top, and all the wee windows with crookedy panes are shining and winking with watches and chains. All sorts and all sizes in silver and gold, and brass ones and tin ones and new ones and old, and clocks for the kitchen and clocks for the hall, high ones and low ones and wag at the wall. The watchmaker sits on a long-legged seat and bids you the time of the day when you meet, and round and about him there's tickety-tock, from the tiniest watch to the grandfather clock. I wonder he doesn't get tired of the chime, and all the clocks ticking and telling the time, but there he goes winding, lest any should stop, this queer little man in the watchmaker's shop. The River of Life. The more we live, more brief appear our life's succeeding stages. A day to childhood seems a year, and years like passing ages. The gladsome current of our youth, ere passion yet disorders, steals lingering like a river smooth along its grassy borders. But as the care-worn cheek grows wan, and sorrow's shafts fly thicker, ye stars that measure life to man, why seem your courses quicker? When joys have lost their bloom and breath, and life itself is vapid, why, as we search the falls of death, feel we its tide more vapid? It may be strange, yet who would change time's course to slower speeding, when one by one our friends have gone and left our bosoms bleeding? Heaven gives our years of fading strength indemnifying fleetness, and those of youth a seeming length proportioned to their sweetness. Ring out wild bells. Ring out wild bells to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let him die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that hear we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all mankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause and ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out the want, the care, the sin, the faithless coldness of the times. Ring out my mournful rhymes, but ring the fuller minstrel in. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right, ring in the common love of good. Ring out old shapes of foul disease, ring out the narrowing lust of gold, ring out the 1,000 wars of old, ring in the 1,000 years of peace. Ring in the valiant man and free, the larger heart, the kindlier hand, ring out the darkness of the land, ring in the Christ that is to be. The Garden of Eden has vanished, they say, but I know the lie of it still. Just turn to the left at the bridge of Finney, and stop when halfway to Good Hill. 'Tis there I will find it, I know sure enough, when fortune has come to my call. Oh, the grass it is green around Ballyjamesduff, and the blue sky is over it all. And tones that are tender and tones that are gruff are whispering over the sea. Come back, Paddy Riley, to Ballyjamesduff. Come home, Paddy Riley, to me. Roche the Vahawalya, O Roche the Vahawalya, O Roche the Vahawalya, and Ishek Chaktan Tauri. O Roche the Vahawalya, O Roche the Vahawalya, O Roche the Vahawalya, and Ishek Chaktan Tauri. A wakatu mohe machine, mohe machine, mohe machine. A wakatu mohe machine. A chendol she son boher. Have you seen my she machine, my she machine, my she machine? Have you seen my she machine going down the road? Shaheen shaho mastore mulyanov mashol gahan kialog dukwajdan tilmore. Shaheen shaho nakmore an tatnu mastorin salyaba in a kalugan bron. A wish. Mine be a cot beside the hill, a beehive's hum shall soothe my ear, a willowy brook that turns a mill with many a fall shall linger near. The swallow oft beneath my thatch shall twitter from her clay-built nest. Oft shall the pilgrim lift the latch and share my meal, a welcome guest. Around my ivied porch shall spring each fragrant flower that drinks the dew, and Lucy at her wheel shall sing in russet gown and apron blue. The village church among the trees, where first our marriage vows were given, with merry peals shall swell the breeze and point with taper spire to heaven. Solitude. Happy the man whose wish and care a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe his native air in his own ground. Whose herds with milk, whose fields with bread, whose flocks supply him with attire, whose trees in summer yield him shade in winter fire. Blessed who can unconcernedly find hours, days, and years slide soft away, in health of body, peace of mind, quiet by day. Sound sleep by night, study and ease, together mixed sweet recreation, and innocence, which most does please, with meditation. Thus let me live, unseen, unknown, thus unlamented let me die, steal from the world, and not a stone tell where I lie. The Poplar Field. The poplars are felled, farewell to the shade, and the whispering sound of the cool colonnade. The winds play no longer, and sing in the leaves, nor ooze in his bosom their image receives. 12 years have elapsed since I first took a view of my favourite field and the bank where they grew, and now in the grass, behold, they are laid, and the tree is my seat that once lent me a shade. The blackbird has fled to another retreat, where the hazels afford him a screen from the heat, and the scene where his melody charmed me before resounds with his sweet-flowing ditty no more. My fugitive years are all hasting away, and I must ere long lie as lowly as they, with a turf on my breast and a stone at my head, ere another such grove shall arise in its stead. The change both my heart and my fancy employs, I reflect on the frailty of man and his joys. Short-lived as we are, yet our pleasures we see have a still shorter date, and die sooner than we. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling, from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when you come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead as dead I well may be, you'll come and find a place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear, though soft, your tread above me, and all my grave shall warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall live in peace until you come to me. Little by little. One step and then another, and the longest walk is ended. One stitch and then another, and the largest rent is mended. One brick upon another, and the highest wall is made. One flake upon another, and the deepest snow is laid. Then do not look disheartened o'er the work you have to do, and say that such a mighty task you never can get through. But just endeavour, day by day, another point to gain, and soon the mountain which you feared will prove to be a plain. Rome was not built within one day, the ancient proverb teaches, and nature, by her trees and flowers, the same sweet sermon preaches. Think not of far-off duties, but of duties which are near, and having once begun to work, resolve to persevere. Young and old. When all the world is young, lad, and all the trees are green, and every goose a swan, lad, and every lass a queen, Then hey for boot and horse, lad, and round the world away. Young blood must have its course, lad, and every dog his day. When all the world is old, lad, and all the trees are brown, and all the sport is stale, lad, and all the wheels run down, creep home and take your place there, the spent and maimed among. God grant you find a face there you loved when all was young. Escape at bedtime. The lights from the kitchen and parlour shone out through the blinds and the windows and bars, and high overhead and all moving about there were millions and millions of stars. There ne'er were such thousands of leaves on a tree, nor of people in church or the park, as the crowds of the stars that looked down upon me and glittered and winked in the dark. The dog and the plough and the hunter and all, and the star of the sailor and Mars, these shone in the sky, and the pail by the wall would be half full of water and stars. They saw me at last, and they chased me with cries, and they soon had me packed into bed. But the glory kept shining and bright in my eyes, and the stars going round in my head. Eileen Ogan, that's the darling's name is. Through the barony her features they were famous. If we loved, who was there to blame us? For wasn't she the pride of Petravore? But her beauty made us all so shy, not a man among us could look her in the eye. Boys, oh boys, sure that's the reason why we're in mourning for the pride of Petravore. Eileen Og, me heart is going grey, ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen Og, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the pride of Petravore. Friday at the fair in Ballintubber, Eileen met McGrath the cattle jobber. I'd like to set me mark upon the robber, for he stole away the pride of Petravore. He never seemed to see the girl at all, even when she ogled him underneath her shawl. Looking big and masterful when she was looking small, most provoking for the pride of Petravore. Eileen Og, me heart is going grey, ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen Og, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the pride of Petravore. A tragic story. There lived a sage in days of yore, and he a handsome pigtail wore, but wondered much and sorrowed more, because it hung behind him. He mused upon this curious case, and swore he'd change the pigtail's place, and have it dangling in his face, not dangling there behind him. Says he, the mystery I've found, I'll turn me round, and round, and round. He turned him round, and round, and round, but still it hung behind him. Then round, and round, and out and in, all day the puzzled sage did spin. In vain, it mattered not a pin, the pigtail hung behind him. And right and left and round about, and up and down and in and out, he turned, but still the pigtail stout hung steadily behind him. And though his efforts never slack, and though he twist and twirl and tack, alas, still faithful to his back, the pigtail hangs behind him. Bedtime. The evening is coming, the sun sinks to rest, the rooks are all flying straight home to the nest. Caw, says the rook as he flies overhead, it's time, little people, we're going to bed. The flowers are closing, the daisy's asleep, the primrose is buried in slumber so deep. Shut up for the night is the pimpernel red, it's time, little children, we're going to bed. The butterfly drowsy has folded its wing, the bees are returning, no more the birds sing. Their labour is over, their nestlings are fed, it's time, little children, we're going to bed. Here comes the pony, his work is all done, down through the meadow he takes a good run. Up go his heels and down goes his head, it's time, little children, we're going to bed. Good night, little people, good night and good night. Sweet dreams to your eyelids till dawning of light. The evening has come, there's no more to be said. It's time, little children, we're going to bed. My shadow. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from heel up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow, for he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there is none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every kind of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. I've a nice little cot and a small bit of land and a place by the side of the sea, and I care about no one because I believe there's nobody cares about me. My peace is destroyed and I'm fairly annoyed by a lassie who works in the town. She sighs every day as she passes the way. Do you want your old lobby washed down? Do you want your old lobby washed down, Conshine? Do you want your old lobby washed down? She sighs every day as she passes the way. Do you want your old lobby washed down? The other day the old landlord came by for his rent. I told him no money I had. Besides, 'twasn't fair for to ask me to pay. The times were so awfully bad. He felt discontent at not getting his rent, and he shook his big head in a frown. Says he, I'll take half, but says I with a laugh, do you want your old lobby washed down? Do you want your old lobby washed down, Conshine? Do you want your old lobby washed down? She sighs every day as she passes the way. Do you want your old lobby washed down? The Little Elf. I met a little elf man once, down where the lilies blow. I asked him why he was so small, and why he didn't grow. He slightly frowned, and with his eye he looked me through and through. I'm quite as big for me, he said, as you are big for you. The Swing. How do you like to go up in a swing, up in the air so blue? Oh, I do think it's the pleasantest thing ever a child can do. Up in the air and over the wall till I can see so wide, rivers and trees and cattle and all over the countryside. Till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown, up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. Leisure. What is this life, if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see, when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see, in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. A poor life this, if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. The violets were scenting the woods, Nora, displaying their charm to the bee. When I first said I loved only you, Nora, and you said you loved only me. The chestnut blooms gleamed through the glade, Nora, a robin sang loud from a tree. When I first said I loved only you, Nora, and you said you loved only me. The golden-robed daffodils shone, Nora, and danced in the breeze on the lea. When I first said I loved only you, Nora, and you said you loved only me. The trees, birds, and bees sang a song, Nora, of happier transports to be. When I first said I loved only you, Nora, and you said you loved only me. Malachy Raftery, 1919. It's 5 this spring morning as I tackle our ass for Cashel Fair. A good lot will me pass, like Andy Mulryan in his pony and thrap, some salt with the bacon were a Catherine wrap. For me pipe a half-quarter of bindigo plug, on the cart will I cover up knees with a rug, lashed week's Freeman's Journal to soften me sate, lashed look at the haggard, swept up nice and neat. Glen Road do I know well from going to Mass, to there will the donkey need never a tap, up from Sonnet Road by Coon Lara and Frass, the blackthorn stick will stay in me lap. Down by Ballymoe I'll get out me tin mug, drop in of spring water a few Keerogs will hate, take Calther down over the poor ass's lug, his belly band off as he stretches his feet. If I meet a stray tan, I'll give him no mass, while down on my head the cap I'll just tug. All over the place roams that black fordent class, in the next field to hell their graves will be dug. To 3 Cartrick man there we all gave a clap, from the trough at the pump the ass took a big slug. On the way home I hope there'll be no mishap, back end of the cart needs a new wooden plug. Under straddle the engine mail bag gives a flap, with the wind in me back by Barna to meet. The cousins from Meelick helped them fence up that gap, and put up on that shed a new galvanised sheet. The Woodcutter's Night Song. Welcome red and roundy sun, dropping slowly in the west. Now my hard day's work is done, I'm as happy as the best. Joyful are the thoughts of home, now I'm ready for my chair. So, till morrow morning's come, bill and mittens, lie ye there. Though to leave your pretty song, little birds, it gives me pain, yet tomorrow is not long, then I'm with you all again. So fare ye well, and hold your tongues, sing no more until I come. They're not worthy of your songs, that never care to drop a crumb. All day long I love the oaks, but at nights yon little cot, where I see the chimney smokes, is by far the prettiest spot. Wife and children are all there, to revive with pleasant looks, table ready set and chair, supper hanging on the hooks. Welcome red and roundy sun, dropping slowly in the west. Now my hard day's work is done, I'm as happy as the best. To the cuckoo. O blithe newcomer, I have heard, I hear thee and rejoice. O cuckoo, shall I call thee bird, or but a wandering voice? While I am lying on the grass, thy twofold shout I hear. From hill to hill it seems to pass, at once far off and near. Though babbling only to the vale of sunshine and of flowers, thou bringest unto me a tale of visionary hours. Thrice welcome, darling of the spring, even yet thou art to me no bird, but an invisible thing, a voice, a mystery. The same whom in my schoolboy days I listened to, that cry, which made me look 1,000 ways in bush and tree and sky. To seek thee did I often rove through woods and on the green, and thou wert still a hope, a love, still longed for, never seen. And I can listen to thee yet, can lie upon the plain, and listen till I do beget that golden time again. O blessed bird, the earth we pace again appears to be an unsubstantial fairy place that is fit home for thee. In the days I went to courtin', I was never tired resortin' to the alehouse and the playhouse, and many a house beside. But I told my brother Seamus I'd go off and grow right famous, and before I come home again I'd roam the world wide. Oh, I courted girls in Blarney, in Kinturk and in Killarney, in Passage and in Queenstown, I mean the Cove of Cork. But I'm tired of all this pleasure, so now I'll take my leisure, and the next time that you hear from me it'll be a letter from New York. So goodbye, Muirsheen Durkin, sure I'm sick and tired of workin'. No more I'll dig the praties, no longer I'll be fooled. But sure's me name is Carney, I'll be off to Californy, and instead of diggin' praties, I'll be diggin' lumps of gold. Goodbye to all the boys at home, I'm sailing far across the foam to try and make my fortune in far America. For there's gold and money plenty for the poor and for the gentry, and when I come back again I never more will stray. So goodbye, Muirsheen Durkin, sure I'm sick and tired of workin'. No more I'll dig the praties, no longer I'll be fooled. But sure's me name is Carney, I'll be off to Californy, and instead of diggin' praties, I'll be diggin' lumps of gold. Little Boy Blue. The little toy dog is covered with dust, but sturdy and staunch he stands. The little toy soldier is red with rust, and his musket moulds in his hands. Time was when the little toy dog was new, and the soldier was passing fair, and that was the time when our little boy Blue kissed them and put them there. Now don't you go till I come, he said, and don't you make any noise. Then toddling off to his trundle bed, he dreamt of his pretty toys. And as he was dreaming, an angel's song awakened our little boy Blue. Oh, the years are many, the years are long, but the little toy friends are true. Aye, faithful to little boy Blue they stand, each in the same old place, awaiting the touch of a little hand, the smile of a little face. And they wonder, waiting the long years through, in the dust of that little chair, what has become of our little boy Blue since he kissed them and put them there. Sing me a song of a lad that is gone, say, could that lad be I? Merry of soul, he sailed on a day, over the sea to Skye. Mull was astern, rum on the port, egg on the starboard bow. Glory of youth glowed in his soul, where is that glory now? Give me again all that was there, give me the sun that shone, give me the eyes, give me the soul, give me the lad that's gone. Sing me a song of a lad that is gone, say, could that lad be I? Merry of soul, he sailed on a day, over the sea to Skye. Billows and breeze, islands and seas, mountains of rain and sun, all that was good, all that was fair, all that was me, is gone. She dwelt among the untrodden ways. She dwelt among the untrodden ways, beside the springs of Dove. a maid whom there were none to praise, and very few to love. A violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be. But she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me. As I went down through Dublin city at the hour of 12 at night, who should I see but a Spanish lady washing her feet by candlelight. First she washed them, dread she dried them over a fire of amber coal. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so sweet about the soul. A whack full of toodle-oodle laddie, whack full of toodle-oodle lay. A whack full of toodle-oodle laddie, whack full of toodle-oodle lay. As I came back through Dublin city at the hour of 8:30, who should I spy but the Spanish lady brushing her hair in the broad daylight. First she tossed it, then she brushed it, on her lap was a silver comb. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so fair since I did roam. A whack full of toodle-oodle laddie, whack full of toodle-oodle lay. Whack full of toodle-oodle laddie, whack full of toodle-oodle lay. I've wandered north and I've wandered south, through Stony Batter and Patrick's Close, up and around the Gloucester Diamond and back by Napper Tandy's house. Old age has laid her hand on me, cold as a fire of ashy coals. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so sweet as a Spanish lady. A whack full of toodle-oodle laddie, whack full of toodle-oodle lay. Whack full of toodle-oodle laddie, whack full of toodle-oodle lay. Have you heard of Phil the Fluter from the town of Ballymuck? Old times were growing hard with him. In fact, the man was broke, so he just sent out a notice to his neighbours, one and all, as to how he'd like the company that evening at the ball. And when writing out, he was careful to suggest to them that if they found a hat of his convenient to the door, the more they put in whenever he requested them, the better would the music be for battering the floor, like a toot on the flute and a twiddle on the fiddle-o, hopping in the middle like a herring on the griddle-o, up, down, hands around, crossing to the wall. So hadn't we the gaiety at Phil the Fluter's ball? There was Mr. Dennis Doherty, who kept the running dog. There was little crooked Paddy from the Tiralaha bog. There was boys from every barony and girls from every art, and the beautiful Miss Brady's in their private ass and cart. Along with them came bouncing Mrs. Cafferty. Little Mickey Mulligan was also to the fore. Rose, Suzanne, and Margaret O'Rafferty, the flower of Ardbragullion and the pride of Petravore, with the toot on the flute and a twiddle on the fiddle-o, hopping in the middle like a herring on the griddle-o, up, down, hands around, crossing to the wall. Oh, hadn't we the gaiety at Phil the Fluter's ball? First little Mickey Mulligan got up to show them how, and then the way the Cafferty gets up and takes a bow. I could dance you off your legs, so she, as sure as you were born. If you'll only make the piper play, the hare was in the corn. So Phil plays up to the best of his ability. The ladies and the gentlemen begin to do their share. Faith and Mick, 'tis you that has agility. Begorra, Mrs. Cafferty, you're lepping like a hare, with a toot on the flute and a twiddle on the fiddle-o, hopping in the middle like a herring on the griddle-o, up, down, hands around, crossing to the wall. Oh, hadn't we the gaiety at Phil the Fluter's ball? Then Phil the Fluter tipped a wink to little crooked Pat. Says he, it's nearly time, says he, for passing round the hat. So Paddy did the necessary, looking mighty cute. Says you got to pay the piper when he tutors on the flute. Then all joined in with the greatest joviality, covering the buckle and the shuffle and the trent. Jigs were danced of the very finest quality. The widow found a husband and the fluter found the rent, with the toot on the flute and the twiddle on the fiddle-o, hopping in the middle like a herring on the griddle-o, up, down, hands around, crossing to the wall. Oh, hadn't we the gaiety at Phil the Fluter's ball? The deathbed. We watched her breathing through the night, her breathing soft and low, as in her breast the wave of life kept heaving to and fro. So silently we seemed to speak, so slowly moved about, as we had lent her half our powers to eke her living out. Our very hopes belied our fears our hopes belied. We thought her dying when she slept, and sleeping when she died. For when the morn came dim and sad, and chill with early showers, her quiet eyelids closed she had, another morn than ours. Requiem. Under the wide and starry sky, dig the grave and let me lie. Glad did I live and gladly die, and I laid me down with a will. This be the verse you grave for me. Here he lies where he longed to be. Home is the sailor, home from the sea, and the hunter, home from the hill. Crossing the bar. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning at the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Irish children. Happy Irish children, in your home below, sheltered when the rain falls, safe from winter's snow. Sing your songs of gladness in your grand old speech, climb the sunny hillside, race along the beach. Nowhere greener pastures, nowhere browner hills, nowhere bluer rivers fed by sparkling rills. This is Holy Ireland where our fathers trod, this is the land where Patrick told them first of God. Love her, do not leave her, o'er the world to roam. Ireland needs her children, work for her at home. Timothy Dan. Timothy Dan is a very rich man, and he keeps all his wealth in his pockets. 4 buttons, a box, the keys of 2 clocks, and the chain of his grandmother Margaret's locket. A big piece of string, it's a most useful thing, a watch without hands, and 3 rubber bands, 5 glassy marbles, some tail ends of chalk, a squeaker that once made a gollywog talk, a broken down penknife with only 1 blade, and a little toy boat that his grandfather made. You'd never believe, hearing such a long list, that there's room in each pocket for 1 little fist. You'd never believe that the smallest of boys could carry so much in his wee corduroys. The fairies. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daredn't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore, some make their home. They live on crispy pancakes of yellow tide foam. Some in the reeds of the black mountain lake, with frogs for their watchdogs, all night awake. By the craggy hillside, through the mosses bare, they have planted thorn trees for pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig one up in spite, he shall find their sharpest thorns in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. To Bambridge town in the county Down, one morning in July, down a Boreen green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. Oh, she looked so sweet from her 2 white feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Sure the coaxing elf I'd to shake myself to make sure I was standing there. Oh, from Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen that I met in the county Down. As she onward sped said, sure I shook me head, and I gazed with a feeling quare, and I said, says I, to a passer-by, who's the maid with the nut-brown hair? Oh, he smiled at me, and with pride said he, that's the gem of Ireland's crown. She's young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bann, she's a star of the county Down. Oh, from Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen that I met in the county Down. Frolic. The children were shouting together and racing along the sands, a glimmer of dancing shadows, a dove-like flutter of hands. The stars were shouting in heaven, the sun was chasing the moon, the game was the same as the children's, they danced to the self-same tune. The whole of the world was merry, one joy from vale to height, where the blue of the woods encircled the lovely lawns of the light. The north wind doth blow. The north wind doth blow, and we shall have snow, and what will the robin do then, poor thing? He'll sit in the barn and keep himself warm, and hide his head under his wing, poor thing. The north wind doth blow, and we shall have snow, and what will the swallow do then, poor thing? Oh, do you not know, he's gone long ago to a land that is warmer than ours, poor thing. The north wind doth blow, and we shall have snow, and what will the children do then, poor things? When lessons are done, they'll jump, skip and run, and play till they keep themselves warm, poor things. The wind that shakes the barley. There's music in my heart all day, I hear it late and early, it comes from fields far away, the wind that shakes the barley. Above the uplands drenched with dew, the sky hangs soft and pearly, an emerald world is listening to the wind that shakes the barley. Above the bluest mountain crest, the lark is singing rarely, it rocks the singer into rest, the wind that shakes the barley. Oh, still through summers and through springs, it calls me late and early. Come home, come home, come home, it sings, the wind that shakes the barley. There was a wild colonial boy, Jack Duggan was his name. He was born and raised in Ireland in a place called Castlemaine. He was his father's only son, his mother's pride and joy, and dearly did his parents love the wild colonial boy. At the early age of 16 years he left his native home, and to Australia's sunny shore he was inclined to roam. He robbed the rich, he helped the poor, he shot James McAvoy. A terror to Australia was the wild colonial boy. One morning on the prairie, as Jack he rode along, listening to the mockingbird singing a cheerful song, out stepped a band of troopers, Kelly, Davis and Fitzroy. They all set out to capture him, the wild colonial boy. He fired a shot at Kelly, which brought him to the ground. He fired a shot at Davis, who fell dead at the sound. But a bullet pierced his brave young heart from the pistol of Fitzroy, and that was how they captured him, the wild colonial boy. White fields. In the winter time we go walking in the fields of snow, where there is no grass at all, where the tops of every wall, every fence and every tree is as white can be. Pointing out the way we came, every one of them the same, all across the fields there be prints in silver filigree. And our mothers always know by the footprints in the snow where it is the children go. Little by little. Little by little, an acorn said, as it slowly sank in its mossy bed, I am improving every day, hidden deep in the earth away. Little by little, each day it grew, little by little, it sipped the dew, downward it sent a thread-like root, up in the air sprang a tiny shoot. Day after day, and year after year, little by little, the leaves appear, and the slender branches spread far and wide, till the mighty oak is the forest's pride. Little by little, said a thoughtful boy, each precious moment I will employ, and always this rule in my mind shall dwell, whatever I do, I'll do it well. Little by little, I learn to know the treasured wisdom of long ago, and sometime, perhaps, the world will be happier and better because of me. The harp that once through Tara's halls. The harp that once through Tara's halls the soul of music shed, now hangs as mute on Tara's walls as if that soul was fled. So sleeps the pride of former days, so glory's thrill is o'er, and hearts that once beat high for praise now feel that pulse no more. No more to chiefs and ladies bright the harp of Tara swells, the chord alone that breaks at night its tale of ruin tells. Thus freedom now so seldom wakes, the only throb she gives is when some heart indignant breaks to show that she still lives. Oh, my name it is Maguire, and I'll quickly tell to you of a pretty girl that I admire, named Kitty Donahue. She's fair and fat and 40, and believe me when I say, every time we go a-courtin' you can hear her mother say, Johnny, get up at the fire, get up and give your man a seat. Don't you know it's Mr. Maguire, and he's courting your sister Kate. You know very well he owns a farm a wee bit out of the town. Will you get up out of that, you impudent brat, and let Mr. Maguire sit down? Well, the first time that I met her was the pattern of Tralee, and I asked her very kindly if she'd dance a step with me. She wanted to know if I'd see her home and with her have some tea. Well, I no sooner got inside the door when I heard her mother say, Johnny, get up at the fire, get up and give your man a sit. Don't you know it's Mr. Maguire, and he's courting your sister Kate. You know very well he owns a farm a little bit out of the town. Will you get up out of that, you impudent brat, and let Mr. Maguire sit down? The gypsy rover came over the hill, down through the valley so shady. He whistled and sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Howdy-do, da-day, howdy-do, howdy-day-dee. He whistled and sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. She left her father's castle gate, she left her own true lover, she left her servants and her estate to follow the gypsy rover. Howdy-do da day, howdy-do, howdy-day-dee. He whistled and sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Her father saddled up his fastest steed, roamed the valleys all over. He sought his daughter at great speed, and the whistling gypsy rover. Howdy-do da day, howdy-do, howdy-day-dee. He whistled and sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti, introibo ad altare Dei, ad Deum quae laetificat juventutem meum. Quia tu es Deus fortitudo meo, quare me repulisti, et quare tristis in cedo, dum affligit me in amicus. Et introibo ad altare Dei, ad Deum quae laetificat juventutem meum. Spera in Deo, quoniam ad hoc confitiborili, salutare vultus mei et Deus meus. Sicut eras in principio, et nunc, et semper, et in saeculo saeculorum. Confitior Dei omnipotenti, Beate Maria semper Virgini, Beata Michaelo Arcangelo, Beato Ioanne Baptiste, Sanctis Apostoles Petro et Paulo, omnibus sanctis et tibi pater, quia peccavi nimus cogitatione, verbo et opera. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Ideo precor Beatam Mariam semper Virginem, Beatam Michaelum Arcangelum, Beatam Ioannem Baptistam, Sanctos Apostolos Petrum et Paulum, omnes sanctos et te pater, orare pro me ad Dominum Deum nostrum.